Millionaire CEO mocked blind date with single dad unaware. He would save her life. The next day Olivia Harrington was the kind of woman who made headlines. A self-made millionaire CEO. She ran one of the fastest growing tech firms in the city. She was sharp, brilliant, and unafraid to speak her mind. But her friends insisted she needed balance, someone outside the boardroom. Against her better judgment, she agreed to a blind date. When she arrived at the upscale restaurant, she spotted him immediately. Daniel, a tall man in a simple button-down shirt, his hands rough and strong, his eyes tired yet steady. She learned quickly he was a single dad, raising a young daughter after his wife passed. Olivia smiled politely, but inside, she scoffed. A mechanic, a single father scraping by, who set me up with this. She made small talk, but her condescending tone leaked through. Life must be difficult, juggling parenting and fixing cars, she said with a half smirk. Daniel only chuckled. It has its challenges, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. The evening ended awkwardly, Olivia leaving with a polite, but cold, good luck with everything. Daniel walked away without bitterness, simply grateful for a night out. The next day, fate had other plans. Olivia was rushing to a shareholders' meeting when two masked men cornered her in the parking garage. They weren't after her car, they were after her. One shoved her against the concrete wall, growling about ransom. Panic rose in her chest. For the first time, Olivia realized how fragile her power was when stripped of boardrooms and cameras. Before she could scream, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. Let her go. It was Daniel. He had been dropping off car parts at a supplier nearby when he noticed the scene. In an instant, the easygoing mechanic became someone else entirely. His movements were precise, controlled, almost military. Within seconds, one attacker was on the ground, the other fleeing. Olivia trembled as Daniel helped her to her feet. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently, his tone soft, despite what she had just seen him do. She shook her head, stunned. How did you? I was Army before I was a mechanic, he admitted quietly. Didn't think that would come up over dinner. Olivia's heart sank. The man she had mocked the night before had just saved her life without hesitation, for the first time. She saw beyond the title of single dad or mechanic. She saw resilience, courage, and a depth of character money couldn't buy. The following week, Olivia called him not as a CEO, but as a woman humbled. "Daniel," she said softly, "I think I owe you dinner. No judgments this time, just gratitude." And for the first time in years, Olivia Harrington laughed, not the polished, corporate laugh people knew, but a real one. Because sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones fate sends to save us. The blind date, the rooftop restaurant glittered under the city lights. A place where power deals were sealed and wine cost more than some people's rent. Olivia Harrington adjusted her diamond bracelet as she glanced around. The waitress led her to a corner table where her blind date was already waiting. Her heart sank. Daniel wasn't what she expected. He wore a clean but worn shirt, sleeves rolled up, calloused hands resting on the table. His posture wasn't stiff, but solid, like someone used to labor. A faint scar ran across his jawline. His eyes, though, were steady, gentle. "Even Olivia?" he asked, standing politely. "Yes," she said with a thin smile as he pulled out her chair. Over drinks, he spoke openly, about his late wife, about his daughter Emily, who was 10, and already loved books more than screens. About working long hours at his auto shop to make sure she never went without. Olivia sipped her wine, politely nodding, but inside her mind screamed, "This is what my friends thought I needed. A mechanic, a single father living paycheck to paycheck." Finally, she couldn't resist a jab. It must be challenging. Living like that, cars by day, homework by night. Daniel chuckled softly. "It is, but it's worth it. She's my world." The way he said it disarmed her for a moment, but she quickly brushed it off. After dinner, She offered a cold handshake. Good luck, Daniel. You'll need it. He gave her a small smile. Take care, Olivia. And that was that. Or so she thought. The attack the next day was brutal. Olivia worked late, juggling investors and a brewing lawsuit. By evening, her driver was stuck in traffic, so she decided to take her car from the garage. Under her office tower, she never made it to the door. Two masked men stepped out from behind a pillar. One grabbed her purse, the other shoved her hard against the concrete wall. Quiet, one hissed, pressing a cold blade near her side. You're coming with us. Her pulse spiked. She tried to scream, but a hand clamped over her mouth. Her mind raced. Kidnapping, ransom, they know who I am. Then, from across the garage, came a calm voice. Let her go. The attackers froze. Olivia turned her head and, her breath caught. Daniel. The fight. He walked forward, hands loose at his sides, eyes locked on the men. This isn't what you want, he said evenly. One laughed. Get lost, hero, or you're next. The knife wielder lunged. It happened so fast, Olivia almost missed it. Daniel sidestepped, seized the man's wrist, twisted, and the blade clattered to the floor. In one motion, he struck his elbow into the attacker's ribs, sending him sprawling. The second thug charged, swinging a metal rod. Daniel ducked, countered with a sharp kick to the knee, and the man crumpled, groaning. Silence filled the garage. The two attackers lay on the ground, groaning in pain. As Daniel stood over them, calm, steady, like he'd done this 100 times, Olivia stared, wide-eyed, her body trembling. You're not just a mechanic, she whispered. He turned to her, extending a hand to help her stand. His voice softened. Army Rangers, 8 years. Mechanics, just my second life. The realization security arrived minutes later, dragging the attackers away. Olivia stood in the aftermath, shaken but safe, her eyes fixed on Daniel. The man she had mocked, dismissed as beneath her, had risked his life for hers without hesitation. Why? She asked, her voice trembling. After the way I treated you, Daniel shrugged. Because you needed help. That's reason enough. Something in her chest cracked open. The cold walls she'd built around herself, the armor of money, success, and pride suddenly felt heavy. A second chance. The following week, Olivia found herself outside his small auto shop. She hesitated before walking in. Daniel was under the hood of a car, grease smudging his forearm. When he looked up, his easy smile returned. Olivia, car trouble? No, she said softly. Just perspective trouble. He raised an eyebrow. She drew in a shaky breath. I think I owe you dinner. Not at some rooftop restaurant, just dinner, with no judgments this time. Daniel studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. As long as there's dessert. Emily insists dessert's the best part. For the first time in years, Olivia laughed, really laughed. And just like that, the woman who thought she had everything realized she'd nearly overlooked the one thing she truly needed. Because sometimes, the man you dismiss as ordinary turns out to be extraordinary.